Guru, Kripa, Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Satguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Namaste.
Namaste, my dear.
Namaste, beloved. Today I truly need your help because there is so much fear. So much fear is going on in the system, and it's because my son is very ill.
Nice.
And it's a very scary situation. And it's also because of my longing to be with Guruji and to be with truth, I've actually quit my job and I'm selling my flat, and then he's so ill. So it's a very frightening situation suddenly. And kind of all I want is to kind of come home to truth, but it's a very challenging situation right now.
So let's see what firstly we can mean when we say truth. What is it that we are looking for? So that then we can clarify whether we found it or not.
Yes.
So the truth is a very strange word. It's a very strange word because everybody has an opinion about it. Everybody has a sense of what they mean. But we must start with a reliable parameter so that then we can confirm. So if we rely on Vedanta, for example, and we rely on the words of the sages, then they say that the truth is that which does not come and go. It is the unchanging. They also say that the truth is the eternal witnessing, the primal witnessing of everything. So the unchanging, pure witnessing of all that is the truth. And they also say it is fundamentally what you are. So there is no distinction between the self and truth. So they are both the same. Now, all of us have heard these pointers and we have explored with them. Let's see if we can come across something which is beyond words, beyond the notion of things, and come to the direct recognition of that truth that we are looking for. Okay, so let's see if we can actually do that. So let's start with a simple question. Are you aware of the perception of this hand?
Yeah.
You're aware of the perception of this hand. So that which is aware, what is the shape of it, the size of it, the color of it?
No shape.
No shape.
No size. No color. No.
So in Vedanta, they say that which is beyond all perceptions is the truth. They also say that primal witnessing is the truth. They also remind us that you cannot think about it. It cannot just be something that you have thought about. So are you just thinking that you are aware, or it is clear to you that you are aware?
I am aware. But I must admit that like the phenomenal word takes a lot of attention right now, like these days. So I'm also very distracted by the world.
Yes. What if I made it simpler for you and said it doesn't matter where attention goes?
Okay, wonderful.
It doesn't matter where attention goes, so allow attention to go wherever it wants to go.
Okay.
It is always reporting back to the same witnessing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can never go and report to someone else.
No.
Isn't it? So then that which remains unchanging is not the content of what your attention is bringing to you, but to which attention is actually reporting back to. Isn't it? So the content of the changing doesn't matter. Whatever may be appearing in the realm of change, it doesn't matter. You see? So that you are aware of all of these perceptions. On what basis are you confirming that?
It's already here.
Yes. But do you see it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and yet you see it, but without perceiving it, isn't it?
It's just we, you know. Yeah.
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 So now, if it is that simple, let's also find something else that is you.
Mm.
What else is you?
Yeah. I feel you're right. There's also like an identification still with his mother, and who's having to take care of everything and have some responsibility, and is afraid to lose everything.
Yes.
Mm.
So let's make it even simpler
Yeah.
and say what else is you, even without you having to identify.
Without having to identify.
Yes. Because what is you then must be you without the process of identification also, isn't it? So before you can identify, besides awareness, what else are you? So, okay, let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Is that I am aware. I am aware of all perceptions. I am aware. Now, it is not this awareness which seems to be in time and space and has any trouble of any sort. So, therefore, there must be another one which is already here, which I am, which has the potential to be troubled by any of this. Is there another one?
It's playing out.
Is what the playing out needs this work to be done, which is the identification to be done. So right now, if you don't identify, what else?
What else am I?
Yes.
If I don't identify.
Yes. Because the truth must be organically present, you see, naturally present.
Yeah.
It should work to be done. So if there's another one of you, which is actually there, then it need not be constructed moment to moment. It must organically, naturally be there. Can you find such a one? So far, we've only concluded that I am aware of perception. You see? Now, let's dig into that a little deeper before we come back to the next one again. That which is aware, you see, and you, what is the difference between the two?
Yeah, I wish there was none, but there's still this identification with someone being very upset.
Yes.
About the situation. Yeah.
So right now, in this moment, are you identified right now? Right now? Right now? If I don't give you time to think, are you identified?
Am I identified?
Right now. Don't think. Right now.
No.
Not identified. So before identification, are you anything other than awareness?
No.
See? So this is the simplicity of self-recognition. Recognized without having to perceive anything. In fact, impossible to perceive. And without having to think. You recognize that you are just witnessing all that is perceived. It's that simple. Now, if you did not have a desire, if you did not want to do something with this or with anything else that appears, if you did not want to get anything out of it, then you would be free, which you are, this organic.
If I didn't want to get anything out of it, I would be free.
Even our spiritual desires, you see, even our spiritual desires belong to someone who doesn't exist. Because we just checked that before you identify, there is nobody else there. It is just awareness.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And awareness doesn't want anything, not even freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is the light of existence itself. It is the light which powers up existence itself. How can it want something? You see, it doesn't. So to want, you have to go back to that trick of identification, isn't it? You have to take yourself to be something other than this, to want something. So duality leads to desire. You see, and then desire leads to doership. It says, okay, now that I want this, I'm not enough. So what should I do to get it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So to not identify breaks the chain, breaks the chain of duality, desire, and doership.
Okay.
See? Now, the mind will say, how can I not identify all the time? It will say, okay, now if this is the trick, how can I stay like this all of the time? But that is also a desire. It is not awareness saying, can I stay like this all the time? Because it always is. Then whose desire must it be? They can also be a doubt about whether you actually recognized it or not. The mind will tell you, but you are just faking it. Have you really seen that you are awareness? Yes, you have. But the mind cannot confirm this. So don't bother with the mind confirming.
But Guruji, what about like the desire that my son should be healthy and our economy should be okay and that she should take the right responsibility and do the right things? And what about all of that?
See, the process of desire is a very long one.
Yeah.
It presumes an intelligence, individual intelligence, which is just not there. You see? So surrender means that the universal intelligence, the universal being, can take care of everything. It doesn't need my intervention to remind it, okay, this has to improve, this has to get better, this is not good enough right now, this has to change. So it is like like a very limited egoic intelligence going and reminding the supreme intelligence of the universe and saying, this is what you must be doing. But that process is not needed, you see.
No.
Because the supreme intelligence, which is there, which is running the waking state right now, which is beating your heart and making your breath function in this moment, that is doing all of this anyway. So we can trust that. You see, without that functioning, you see, all the rest would not matter anyway. If this intelligence was not beating your heart right now, then all the desires would not matter, because that would be the end game already. You see? So that intelligence, which is running the millions of processes in one body, and then trillions of organisms just on one tiny planet, among which there are trillions such planets which are observable. You see? So if that can run all of this, then it doesn't need our tiny intelligence to say, hey, you are messing that up a bit, can you fix that? You see?
Yeah.
As a mother, of course, there's a natural tendency to see your son healthy and things. So those you can keep. That prayer you can keep in your heart, that's fine. You see, for now. And then leave the rest to the supreme intelligence to handle. That which we think is the doer, you see, doesn't exist and therefore has not done anything at all. Everything that has ever happened has only happened in grace.
Yes, thank you.
So don't have to worry or wonder about how things will turn out and whether you did the right thing. No. The one things it did doesn't exist anyway. As you just saw, that only awareness is here. Responsibility is fraudulent because we do not find the existence of an individual entity there anyway. So whose responsibility would it be? If there was free will, if there was individual responsibility, there would have to be an individual, isn't it? You see? How much responsibility does the space next to you have?
No.
How come it doesn't have? It should have, no, it should be a bit more responsible. You will say, but there is nobody there to do anything. You see, in the same way, this body-mind construct, which we take to be an individual doer, it does not have any individual agency. You see, it does not know how to move a finger.
So we actually just believe that we take responsibility if we believe that? It's just like a belief?
The consciousness plays with its own power of belief to take itself to be a limited entity, and as a limited entity, it plays with the notions of duality, doership, and desire.
Mm.
Without this deluded belief, you see, and as part of its play, as part of its lila, when it drops this belief of separation or duality, then if I say, yes, you have responsibility, but who would I be talking to? What would I be taking you to be?
Person.
You see? So on the spiritual path, Bhagwan has given some very good advice about this. As long as you feel that you are the doer and you can do something or you have some choice, make the choice to let go of your thoughts. You see, make the choice to let go of your thoughts. Then you will see that even that was grace. That is freedom. To recognize what you are, you see, to recognize what you are, then all the mind's ideas about what you should be, how you should be, what you should do, what should happen to your world, all of those ideas are then discarded because you see that you are not that. You see? And also, when you allow yourself to discard or surrender these ideas, to see what you really are is very simple, is very apparent. But once you pick up the mask of identification, when you pick up the mask of personhood, and then to try to recognize God, that is very difficult. But empty of that, it is completely apparent. So it is not that you are becoming free. It is not that you are becoming free. It is that you recognize that what you are can never be bound. So don't try to get to freedom. Don't try to get to any freedom. Just refuse to leave your free place already.
Thank you.
What is already here? Already here, so naturally. You see, that's why I say when we are looking around on the streets and everything, God is waiting in our living room. Are you done? Are you done with your play? Are you done with your play? What is right here? Whose presence do you experience when you taste your own being? Who's here? And for those of you, again, who are new and not feeling like you're tasting your own being, try to stop being. Don't be for a moment. And you will taste it. You see, you will taste it. So this being is who? Your mind has one job. Your mind has one job, which is to convince you that this being is personal. It is to convince the being itself that it is personal. And that is the design of the play. So don't worry about the why it happens like that. Leave all of that. Notice the presence. Notice your beingness. See that it has no boundary. It is purity itself. So pristine. So immense. So beautiful. And you are aware even of this. Aware, so naturally aware even of this immensity and purity. What can be spoken about you? What can be spoken? So magnificent. And yet, in the play of Maya, what we take ourselves to be is such a tiny basket of food. We leave all that. What is here? So if you don't confuse this living presence as if it is the presence of an individual, and we see it for what it is, then
this was exactly this personal story that I have to practice a lot to reach this, to come to this place, and this is exactly what you said, how the mind makes a story out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You see, so this is what I'm introducing you to. This being, does it need any help to be? What support are we providing for being to be? Does it need the mind's advice? Be this way. But that's what the mind is constantly doing. Be this way. Don't be that way. The world has to be this way. It can't be that way. It's like the wave is telling the ocean how to be. But the wave in this case is non-existent. You see, it's not even a wave. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. If I introduce any of you for one moment to this holy presence of divinity in your own heart, as your own presence, as your own being, I'm very happy. I feel like my lifetime's work is done. I can point a bit to the sense of just the supreme reality which already is, and then the path of the body-mind can, of course, continue in whichever way it would like. But you said a few things which I can help you. Together we can look a little bit. And you said that there are times in which there is the play of the normal seeming world happening, therefore all of these things are there. And then there are times where there's an experience of just like an empty space, you see? And that can seem quite relaxing and beautiful. What we will recognize in this moment now is to see what witnesses either of those. You see, whatever attention may be bringing to us, whether it is a realm full of light and sound and all the possible aspects of the play, or where it seems to be a complete vacuum or dark empty space. You see, what witnesses that, and does that change along with the content of what is being perceived?
Yeah, about that. So exactly, I could see that I was noticing this state and even that state. There, the only thing that was in my mind was about attention. Like, wherever I put my attention, like I just didn't know who is controlling the attention inside me. Like, where I like whenever I like this is the last place where I come to and I stop and I don't know the answer to it. Like, who controls the attention? If I take my attention wherever I take it, if I do the Muji's way of, if I put attention to that, then that happens. If I put attention to something else, then that happens.
Yes. So let's look at this together. And don't worry about muting. It's fine. Keep yourself on unmute. So that which must be controlling it must be the one that is there. So only that which is must have the power, if at all, to control. Of course, these whole ideas of control and doing and happening are all human constructs. They're not really applicable to the self. But let's start by looking at it that way. So who is aware right now? Who is aware? Who's aware even of the movement of attention?
I can't put a name to it. Like,
so are you confirming that it is not you?
Yeah, it is not the usual, talking right now and how will I ask my question, and like, not that person for sure. Yeah.
Not that one. You see? So then who is it? If it is not you, how does this information come to you then? Who is speaking to you, telling you that this perception is in front of your eyes, these sounds are being heard by your ears? Who is telling you?
You are just talking to my body, right? Like, and this person is noticing that, someone is talking and this ear is listening and things are happening.
Uh-huh. So let me ask you the same question I asked the previous questioner. Are you aware of the perception of this hand?
Yes.
That you, which is aware of the perception, which one is that?
It is awareness itself, I think. It is just aware.
Yes. And did you need a perception of that awareness to confirm it is awareness?
No.
You can't perceive it, no? Is it just a concept from your mind that you are stating?
No, not at all. No.
So it's not a concept, nor a perception, and yet it's apparent to you. Is it? So this unperceivable reality, which does not change, no matter where attention may be, that is yourself. You cannot perceive it. You cannot find it in some Virat roop or some Shunya roop. You cannot find it, no matter how many thoughts you think, you cannot find it as a result of thoughts. You see? It just is
Yeah.
as this. Now, the other one which you think you are, which one is that?
That was a thought in that time, at that moment.
So that is gone. So that which comes in cannot be you.
Yes.
Now, from the perspective of this awareness, you see, make the awareness the protagonist of your narrative, the central character of your narrative, and speak.
Yes.
What can you say?
Whatever will happen, and even my attention, I think, even the attention is sort of also happening on its own that way.
And when you say I, which one are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, incidentally, I'm not trying to introduce a new perspective. In a way, sometimes I may, but it is only to cancel the old perspective. You see? But empty of any reference to an I. You're naturally the truth. As one would say, without the I thought. It is the I thought which is the root of all suffering, which is the root of all. And the I thought is nothing but any reference that we can make to ourselves. And that reference could be to the highest or the lowest. It doesn't matter. It's still a reference. As long as there is a reference, there is a limitation. You see? So, in this very moment, you are empty of all references. And you are free. If I say, what do you think about that? You will start to make a reference. You see, with thoughts. You will give some belief or identity to the thought. And you will take yourself to be something. And it is that taking yourself to be something which gets in the way.
Yeah.
So, as this awareness, now all of the narratives, they start to fall apart. Whether you have to look at it for 10 minutes or 10,000 years, for the timeless awareness, which is not caught up in any time, all these things are irrelevant. So don't bother with any of that. Don't bother with what is limited by time and space. And when I say don't bother, I'm not talking about the activity or inactivity of the body. I'm speaking of your inner attitude. Because in the state, as everything is moving in the waking state, the body will also move in the same intelligence. You see, you come and say that was individually somebody's doing. But that is not. It is part of the same momentum of the play of the Leela, of the waking state. It will carry everything, including this body, whatever need to be done or whatever inactions. Don't judge yourself on any of that, whatever shows up as the body. So you will find that that which you truly are is never threatened, never shaken by any of this. You need to first take a shape to be shaken up. You see? Shake the space in the room. You can't. But you can pick up a glass or a table or something and shake it because it has a shape. So unless you take shape, you see, and that shape many times is the idea that I don't want to take shape. That is also a shape.
Yes.
Sometimes that experience can come with so much clarity and beauty that the mind says we must hang on to it like that. That's why, like every experience, even the experience of an awakening or clarity has pros and cons. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's true.
You get so much insight, intuitive insight, it's so clear. And yet the mind can also latch onto that and say, but that was it. I need to be like that only all of the time.
Yeah.
So we are to enjoy the spiritual experiences, just like prasad outside a temple, you see. But we must not clamor for them. We must not hanker after them and say it must always be like this. Because what happens is that in the garb of that spiritual experience, the mind is making you miss fresh God, which is right here.
Yeah.
God is here in its full glory. It never diminishes. Your being right now is the presence of God itself, fully full. See, never less, never more. It is fully full. See? But that being itself plays as if it gets attached or individualized. But actually, for consciousness, it is just a play. It is never his business. Like everything I said in the play of the world, has an upside and a downside. So as you come to these experiences, it has brought you the fear of death. But death is also a beautiful contemplation.
Yes.
There are Indian scriptures like the Katha Upanishad, which are based on the conversation with death itself. See? It is a beautiful conversation where a little boy, Nachiketa, says, everything you take away, everything you will take away. He's talking to death. Everything you will take away. Point me to that or show me that which is untouched even by you. That is what the sages are doing. That is what the sages are doing. In every moment where you are here, your being is here. Whose being is that? Who is here? Now, I said that the mind's primary job is to convince you that this being, this presence belongs to a person. But it is just not true. It is just not true. Because the presence of your being is so unlimited, is so beyond anything like desire and aversion, is so beyond time and space, that it cannot belong to some made-up person. Now, this being is just the greatest gift, fresh God, is ever available to us. And even one moment of its taste is the immortal nectar that we are all searching for, is beyond death, is beyond life. So this being is available to you. Don't let your mind convince you that it comes and goes or something. See, because when it tries to push this button, see if you can stop being. Don't be. You'll see that it just is. It's here.
This pointer of yours, the first time I heard it, it really went in that, can you stop being? And of course, it's, and something is even aware of even this being. Something knows that you are being. You cannot even stop that. These insights are so clear somewhere, but this thing of death, and I can really see, my God, I said, now I know what this Maya is so strong. This I am the body idea, it gets so highlighted on the face of death that something, it really amplifies 100 times more. And that's really something wants to stay here.
So I want to reassure you that as long as you, as consciousness, want to experience yourself in that aspect, you will continue to. Nobody is going to force death upon consciousness. You see? All will move with the will of consciousness, which is what you are. So trust that every experience and the absence of experience both happen only in the will of the Supreme Intelligence. So trust that as long as it wants a taste of this body-mind, it wants to experience the waking realm through these eyes, it will continue to keep. And then when it doesn't want that anymore, it'll pick up another set of clothes It's not such a big deal for that consciousness. It's just like you can go from waking state to dream state to another dream to another dream to another dream to back to this, apparently back to this. We can't from that anyway. So just like that, it plays with consciousness can play with this manifest realm in this way. All is your play. All is you are this consciousness. So don't worry that you will be forced into an experience that you don't want. I can give you a simple tip which will help you with being vigilant. Because what can happen many times is that the Papaji said, no, that vigilance till my dying breaths. And that seems, when I first heard it, I got really scared, because I felt like that's a lot of work. You see, I just have to be like, is the mind coming at me? Am I being... it doesn't look like freedom at all, you see. And then as I contemplated this further and deeper, I realized that actually this vigilance is to not get into any sort of denial. You see, that much vigilance is enough, which means that because life is so beautifully designed that anytime we pick up individuality, it is going to poke us. You see, now this much vigilance is enough that we recognize the poke. That when it pokes us, we don't get into any sort of Advaita denial and say, yeah, it's okay, I'm the self, nothing is happening to me. This kind of stuff. And then add to that spiritual identity and specialness and just do that. So to just see, okay, what is it that I'm believing about myself? See, what is it that I'm believing about myself, which is getting poked? Which button is getting pushed right now? And to be open to that looking is more than vigilance enough. And in our heart, we know when we are suffering. When we are getting poked, we know. So to allow that, to look at that, and to pull out the thorn of some mistaken identity again and to throw it out, that much vigilance is more than enough. Otherwise, in our day-to-day life, we can continue to function naturally. I don't want for you to go into your classroom, talking to those young, beautiful children, and then every minute thinking, am I getting identified? Am I getting identified? It is not vigilance. It's just allowing of naturalness to unfold. And when we find that life still has the ability to press some button, then we just look at that and say, okay, what is the identity that is being poked? Then we allow that to reveal itself, and we notice it, and in our noticing, it is cleaned up. It is cleaned up.
It was the two things were, what do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on work and the practicalities of life, or go deeper and look with you at being and...
What would be the tool of focus? In the sense that, suppose we say we focus on this, then what tool do we have to focus on that? In the sense that, are we talking about our attention? I think then I have to not keep my attention on what is showing up.
It's just a thought. Yeah, it was just a thought in the moment. Yeah.
Because life is going to play out in any way, and nothing in an appearance is better or worse than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
There is no intelligence more intelligent than life to give us exactly what is needed for us. The universe will mess up the recipe of what it is cooking for us.
Yeah.
That conversation we had with another sweet boy or girl, I don't remember, who said, I've been at home for a long time, just focused on this self-inquiry and meditation and things. And now, because there was some need for money and, life needed, some responsibilities came and I needed some money. So I got this job and it's paying me well, but it's not giving me joy. So I said, but when you said you want the job, you said you were doing it for money. I didn't hear that doing it for joy. So what you can do is you bring the joy and the job will bring you the money.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. That
Don't-
came up.
Don't expect the job, is it? What you already have in any case, given that you're in satsang. In fact, it may be your job to bring it to the job.
There is a need for body to integrate itself, because for me it works like this. I don't know, I wanted to say this, and it creates confusion. Like when your body is not so relaxed, it's like
Which body?
ideas.
Which body?
Which body? This body.
Okay. But the universe is your body. How will you integrate it?
I don't integrate it.
It's pre-integrated. It came integrated only.
Yeah.
We must not fall into this trap of the concept of embodiment. You see, because one body can never be a true representative of the truth that you are discovering. The universe is your embodiment. It cannot be that we go away from the identification as the body, come to the recognition of our being, you see? And in that recognition of our being, there is full acceptance of the universal body as the manifest. You see, what is the body for God? The body for God is that which manifests. You see, what is beyond the body of God is that which is the unmanifest. You see, but why a special emphasis on one particular body when you discover that you are the light in which this entire universe comes and goes?
Actually, after the work experience,
isn't it another way to make a reason to still be attached to ourselves as if we are a body?
May you please repeat, Father?
Is it just another way to for the mind to play and bring back attachment to one particular body as me? Is it? And also, I'll tell you something else. Actually, the body is so innocent that it is never not integrated. It is always moving and dancing to the will of God itself. It is only our mind which is the resistance. It is never a body which is the problem.
Yes, still, I just wanted to offer this to you because, Father, still some doubts come, like maybe there is something, this one has to...
Which one? The universe. Either take the whole universe to be the body. You see, either take the whole universe to be the body or take the body to be space. Because even the scientists will tell you is 99.9999% space. So either take the body that you take to be yourself to be space or take the whole universe to be your body.
Father, you don't allow me to speak anymore.
That is not the intention is just to not allow you to misidentify with just another tiny aspect of the appearance and limit yourself just to that. Which problems can we solve for this body? This body is ephemeral. It's coming and going. You go to sleep tonight. We don't know which body you will experience next. We may call that a dream, but can we really be certain?
So everything is just happening in you, just like you have hold every catch. It's really like my complete experience. And after this, I think I cannot speak more.
No, but better come.
Huh?
This is a very beautiful report, but don't spoil it now by believing a but or a still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that but is just like something which appears, disappears. So yeah, I cannot bring this because I couldn't find any importance now for this.
Very good. Very good.
I don't have so much to say. I just wanted to take the opportunity to say hello and meet you in this way, and maybe take an opportunity to look with you.
Do you feel like, in your case, there is oscillation happening, or you feel like it's clear sometimes, it's blurry, or it's mostly shanti shanti?
I would say quite a lot of oscillation, especially recently. And in this case, it seems oftentimes my oscillations will be for longer periods of time where I'll feel very even established as awareness. And then all of a sudden, things will just be a mess. And I can't find any space, or just a lot of attachment with the person and belief in the thoughts. And so, yeah, quite a bit of oscillation, I would say.
But you are able to recognize that nothing in reality is changing even through those apparent oscillations. You're able to see, or it feels like it's real. It's really something that happens to you.
I would say a bit of both. And maybe this is a good question as well. It's very apparent that the awareness doesn't change. But then, of course, these times come where I'm identified with the person so much, or what's going on. And so, of course, it seems to fade into the background or not be as strong, or however words can put it. But yet I know, at least intellectually, that it's always there and it's not changing.
Is there a sense, and just try to answer from your heart, is there a sense that there's like a me now who's struggling either to hold on tightly to awareness, or then start suffering when identified as a body mind? Is there a who's trying to straddle both the worlds, so to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, and if you leave that me?
Just aware.
Because that me is actually the most amplified spiritual seeker, who seems like it is our best friend, but actually can cause a lot of trouble. Because it has all the spiritual knowledge, it has all the pointers available, like a dictionary of pointers. You see, it has all of those guidebooks there, but it is still a limited representation of what we are. So then what happens is, just like a very exciting tennis match, then you can feel like, okay, sometimes I'm just this awareness, sometimes I go back into this personhood, and actually I'm just giving myself a pain in the neck between these two. So step out of that position of trying to manage this or straddle this. It is not something that you can actually do. All that you can do moment to moment is, if you find yourself caught up in some belief system, just return back to your heart, return back to your openness, emptiness, without any sense of judgment or conclusion. Sometimes things are playing out and some emotions are strong, thoughts are big. You see, it seems like this is like this. What can we do? We can just notice and not judge. You see, notice and don't conclude. Because if you notice and conclude that this happens to me, that conclusion then becomes part and parcel of the spiritual seeker identity. So as you notice it, it can seem like a non-instruction instruction, but it's a bit subtle. So when we notice that we are caught up in this, when we don't notice and we are in the midst of it, that is that anyway. Like there's nothing to do there, you see. So it's just like tomorrow will be a better day, just write off that, it's fine, forget about it. But if you add it to your report card and say, see, now in yesterday, 15 minutes, I was pure awareness, then 20 minutes, I played manager at work, partner, with my relationship. You see, then we have this kind of mental reporting system. They're not actually helping you, because the nature of the mind is that it will grasp the negative and it will not tell you that most of the day yesterday you were completely open and empty. Just anything which tries to present itself as part of a narrative, just discard that. Just discard that. You don't know what your state is. You don't know how well or badly you're doing. All that is apparent to you now is that your being is here. And your being is no mere entity. It is the greatest force in this universe. Your being is here. Therefore, it doesn't matter what the past was like, or what happened yesterday. None of that actually matters. So, in the moments that you notice, allow yourself to fall into your heart and don't make any conclusion. Remain in the unborn. And in the moments where you don't notice and you're playing out, it's fine, it happens, don't worry. Don't put it in your report card. Don't make it like something that you have to fix. And someone says, how was it? I don't know actually. I don't know. Are you being free? I don't know what that is. Are you being caught up in your mind? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Then it becomes a lot simpler. Because if you try to fix it for a series of moments, you see, that can never happen. It can only be for right now. It can only be for right now. So just like that, simplicity, openness, emptiness, with no, most importantly, no report cards. You see? And I know I asked the question, so it's not a blame or something. It is just prodding to see what could still become like believable notions that you could think about yourself, believable notions that you could take. So anything that is in time and space, leave it. Does that seem too far out, an instruction?
Not at all. No.
How many moments of oscillation can you remember?
In this moment, almost none, but I can then start to try to count and go back.
Yeah. So when you go back, you will have 5, 10, maximum 100, okay, if you have a really good way with these things and you have very strong report card. You see 100. But how many moments were there last week? Millions, you see? So even 100 doesn't mean anything in the immensity of your experiencing. So don't allow your mind to become conclusive about your state. Actually, your mind can never really report on your state. Just in this moment, you can taste the vastness of your being, isn't it? And you can notice that you are aware even of that undivided reality. So one moment of that insight is worth 1,000,000 lifetimes of identification. So you don't have to be concerned at all.
I was looking for what you said about looking these sensations or emotions and then see if awareness has any change.
Yeah, very good.
But I cannot reach to see awareness if it has any change.
Aha, acha.
So it's like
it's okay. I can help you a bit with this. I'm happy that you tried, you looked and you contemplated, and in your attempt, there is no such thing as succeeding or failing. It's fine. It's fine. Just the looking is what is important. So let's see if we can do some of it together now. So you notice that you are aware, isn't it? That was your starting point. So if I ask you, are you aware? What do you say?
I'm very confused because I'm aware means that my eyes see, my ears listen, my body feels.
Yes,
So I can say, this is I, that I'm aware. But it's the...
It's very good.
If this body is not here,
it's very
am
good.
I aware?
Yes, we can start with this. It's very good. So you say that I'm aware of sight, and what I call sight is what my eyes see. I am aware of hearing, and what I'm aware of is what my ears hear, isn't it? Now, close your eyes, and bring your attention to the image of a tree.
Yes, I see.
Now, which eyes are seeing that?
I don't know.
You see, so it is not just the physical eyes that can see, because your eyes are closed, and yet you're able to what we call visualize or imagine a tree. So the perception of sight is possible even without the functioning of these eyes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
See? So, and you are aware of that perception of sight. Now, if I say in the same way, hear the tune of your favorite song, you can hear that as well. You see, so
Yes.
hearing can be independent of the waves, the sound waves that these ears may be hearing, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yet, that awareness remains the same whether what is being perceived is sight, sound, taste, touch, any of these senses. Does the awareness also become sight or hearing? It remains, or does it remain the same? Like, is there a different awareness when there is sight being perceived, and there is a different awareness when there is a hearing being perceived or a smell being perceived?
Different of what?
Does it also change its color or flavor in some way when the modes of perception change? Do you change when
I don't
you
see awareness.
say again?
I don't see awareness.
Yes. And yet, are you aware or no?
In the sense I told you, yes.
Yes. So, how do you recognize that awareness, which you are right, you cannot see, nobody can perceive it. You see, nobody can perceive it. So, and yet we can confirm. See, that is the beauty of intuitive insight, that it is not based on any perception. It is independent of that.
I don't know.
So, even if you were to say, I'm not aware, what you would be saying is that I'm aware that I'm not aware. When you say, I don't know, are you aware that you don't know? It's the unescapable, you see. Even if your mind wants to resist it with all its might, you see, the minute you say, I'm confirming that I don't know, what you're actually confirming is that you are aware that in your mind, you don't have the right answer for this. Without being aware, you could not confirm that.
Uh-huh.
You see? Okay, so what I notice is happening is that you're trying to understand. You see, don't try to understand. Allow my words to just work on their own, and don't be under too much pressure that it has to work now or something has to happen. You just loosen it as much as you can. Actually, both
I'm very confused.
Both the speaking and the thinking are just appearances within consciousness. You see, and both are happening just on their own in the light of consciousness itself. So the idea that there's a different sort of doership when speaking is happening and a different sort of doership when thinking is happening, both consciousness is the doer. The agent or the individual who can speak or think, we cannot find that one.
So how do you difference from coming from consciousness and the thoughts that any people has, or
consciousness.
All come from consciousness. There's no thought that's coming from any other. So there's no talk, there's no speak, or there's no thought that comes from any other source. Just everything is coming from consciousness. So mind is consciousness. So what is mind making me crazy?
So everything is consciousness, and within consciousness there's an aspect called the mind. Now what is that aspect called the mind? The voice which tells you that you are limited is the mind. There's another voice which is the voice of intuition, you see, which is also consciousness, which reminds you that you are not limited, that you are consciousness itself, you see. So the voice which proposes your smallness is the mind. The voice which proposes, your heart's voice which proposes your immensity, your unlimitedness, is your intuition.
So you can easily differentiate that.
That's one tip. There are some other tips also I've given in the past, where when the voice is accompanied by this need or want or grasping, then that is the mind. You see, it could be saying the sweetest things, but it wants something, where you can smell it. And then there's another voice which is not in a rush. It doesn't want anything. It has no desire. It is just speaking because it is reminding you. It's like an alarm clock reminding you of your reality. Whether you wake up or not it's not concerned about that.
Okay. So I need an acceleration of the process. Whatever. I don't know how to pray. What to pray and to, I don't know. It's like, please.
Okay, so when I say to you, are you aware now? Is that a frustrating question, or does it lead to some insight?
Well, it's what I told you. It's like, yes, I'm aware. Of course, I'm aware. Who is not aware?
So you feel
maybe it's more like unconscious of, I don't know if it's
like, although you recognize that you are awareness, you still carry the identification of being the body mind along with that. Is that what it feels like? Or can you see that, yes, I am this awareness, and the play of the body mind is happening on its own, and it doesn't really affect myself, which is awareness itself. What is your true feeling about this contemplation? Because if it's not working, we can go to some other place and talk about something.
I think there's no. I think I take the body mind attached to awareness.
I see. Okay. So let's keep that one aside. Let me ask you the next one and see if that seems to help more. When I ask whether you can stop being, what is your experience with that question? Try to stop being, and then what happens?
My mind is saying, if I cut my head and I throw it away, I stop being.
Yes, but when I'm saying, okay, don't speculate about what is going to happen and what if, all those scenarios of the intellect, keep them aside, and just right now try to stop being. Don't be. Don't imagine what it is like to not be. It is try right now, don't be. Then what is it like?
No, I feel.
Doesn't help, doesn't work.
No.
So then if I was to say, now just remain as the witness to everything that comes and goes. Everything that is coming and going, you remain as a witness to that. Whatever sensation, whatever perception there may be, just witness it. If you try to do that, what happens?
This is the thing that confuses me, because like I have a thought that say that the thought says I put the attention in all my different parts of the body because I close the eyes, so the other things I'm not seeing now. And I forget what was the question.
Just we are witnessing, even the thought which comes, we allow it to come and go. We just remain as a witness.
Ah.
Then what is your experience with that?
I don't know.
Does it feel at home or does it feel a bit difficult and strange? Just be honest with me. It's okay.
I don't know what is feel at home. I don't know if this means that you see it from here.
No, it just feels comfortable. If I say remain as a witness, it doesn't feel like it's too much hard work or too much mental work. Does it feel like a pain to do it, or does it feel it's okay, it's natural? Okay, let me try the next one. And you can pick between the two. What feels more easy, what feels more comfortable. The next one is just remain with the sound of your breath. You know what I'm saying? Just remain with the sound of your breath. You can hear the incoming breaths and you can hear the outgoing breaths.
This is better.
This is better? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would suggest that as much time as you feel natural and comfortable with this, and with no forcing, just naturally, whether it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you feel. Just spend some time just hearing the sound of your breath. And you come back next time and you report about whether that leads to some openness, some spaciousness in your being, or are you still feeling the same frustration? Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.